So Aram, take it away.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Yair, and thank you everyone for taking time off of a busy summer warm schedule and some cold schedules to join us on this wonderful evening. What I'd like to do is take a few moments and just set the stage for what you're going to hear today, what types of things that you're going to be experiencing today. And first and foremost, one of the things that Yair mentioned, and I wanted to stress again, is the challenge that we as practitioners of TCM face with is how do we take a complex research piece of document and turn it into a useful, practical tool in our practice, whether it's talking about something with patients, something with colleagues, advocacy, sharing that information, etc. So what I've done in the tradition of RTF programs is create an infographic that you can use. They will be available for download at the shared drives. And it's focusing on the summer season, summer being the Zong heart season, and cardiology we thought would be a perfect fit. As Yair said, it is still debatable, but it's probably one of the biggest killers out there. 1.8 million deaths per year from CVD just in US. That roughly equates to about 5,000 deaths per year, per day, sorry. Now in EU, from a costing perspective, 211 billion, about 53% of the overall EU's budget on healthcare is spent on CVD care, on rehab and cardiac rehab. 17% of women suffer female premature deaths occur from CVD, males with a little bit more prevalence. And about 60 million people right now in EU are living with cardiovascular diseases, and about 13 million new cases are added. Why are these numbers important? These are our patients. There are some of them who you're already treating, some of them can become your patients. If you understand how to position acupuncture and TCM in relation to that. Now, cardiovascular diseases are a complex disease that deals with a lot of risk factors. And these risk factors vary and include physiological and behavioral risk factors. Behavioral such as smoking, a lack of exercise, lack of aerobic exercise. Physiological such as high blood pressure, diabetes, types of elevated cholesterol like hyperlipidemia. So these are the risk factors that are the key components that contribute to cardiovascular health. Now, what are the types of diseases in cardiovascular systems? You've got valvular diseases, stenosis of the valves. You have aneurysms of the aortic aneurysm or the various aortas. CAD, which is the coronary artery disease as a result of buildup of atherosclerotic plaque. Electrical impulse related pathologies such as arrhythmias, which deal with the electrical impulse center of the heart failure, cardiomyopathies, and also pericarditis. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest contributors are physiological risk factors and behavioral risk factors. Why are these important? Because we treat these very effectively. This is where we can really make an impact. It's a great opportunity for us to play in that field. We treat people with diet, with physical activity, with adiposity, alcohol, tobacco cessation, high cholesterol, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, diabetes, metabolic disorder. These are all within our scope of work within TCM and acupuncture with a great substantial amount of evidence to validate our efforts and our profession's functions. However, one very important thing that we all must be aware of is cardiovascular disease is a serious life-threatening situation. As a result, as physicians, we must be aware of the telltale signs of. Sorry, did someone had a question?
No, sorry.
Yeah, it's important to understand the telltale signs of an impending cardiovascular condition and be able to refer. If you can see these signs, if you notice these signs in the patient, and I'm not going to go through them, the infographic is there at your leisure, review it, study it, and you'll have an opportunity to then learn how to identify the key telltale signs and then either forward them or refer them to your colleagues. This will also build credibility for us, being able to identify critical situations and cooperate integrate within the current healthcare landscape. In Europe, the European Heart Network is an association that is built primarily as a charter for European cardiovascular disease patients. And their charter in Article 4 specifically states that all countries, all member states must set up rules and regulations to address preventive methods, personalized, healthy lifestyle advocacy in their approach for cardiac rehab. Well, guess what? These are all terms that we are very familiar with in TCM because we can add and contribute to these settings. So it's important to be aware of what is happening in the cardiac rehab space. Now, after an acute cardiac event, usually there are 3 phases in rehabilitation. Phase 1 is most commonly an inpatient phase, which is the rapid acute stage, usually handled in the hospital. Very little in terms of our ability at this point for now. In mainland China, even in phase 1, acupuncturists are involved in cardiac rehab. Phase 2 and phase 3 is return to function, either 6 to 8 weeks or sustained activities that aim to reduce risk factors, delay a reversal or onset or repeat of the condition, reduce morbidity and mortality, improve comorbidities, and address underlying lifestyle/behavioral risk factors that can impact the cardiovascular health of the patient. So in terms of our modalities, what is available to us? From a variety of the techniques that we can employ, there have been research already, and these are snippets of the research that is included. I've given you the full research articles later, and Anya will be also targeting very specific research articles that this information comes from. But I wanted to turn this into a practical tool that you can use as a snippet. In terms of obesity, there are research articles that show that obesity can be, treatments with acupuncture can be maximized by integrating acupuncture, both auricular and manual acupuncture, body acupuncture for treating obesity. In metabolic conditions, various metabolic conditions, there have been experimental studies that show hyperglycemia, overweight, hyperphagia, hyperlipidemia, inflammation. You know, we are very familiar with the vagus tone and how acupuncture reduces inflammatory factors in the body. Inflammatory factors play a key role in sustained pressure on the vascular system, which causes atherosclerotic plaque, which then could potentially cause cardiovascular pathologies. Not to mention, you know, we're all in our practice dealing with cessation of smoking, and the research indicates that adequate acupuncture treatment may help motivated smokers reduce and sometimes even completely quit smoking. Hypertension, you know, there are many research articles that talk about hypertension. One in particular, a very specific case showed that pericardium 5, pericardium 6, stomach 36 and 37, electrostammed for 8 sessions. Subsequently, their systolic blood pressure and the diastolic blood pressure showed marked decrease. And these research modalities are available. Our treatment modalities are broad. Don't think of just needles and gua sha and or tuina. We have a wide range of therapeutics that we can employ in our basket of tools that can help us add this value to our patients in their health. The research that I mentioned is included. I've included all the DOI numbers, so you can, if you want to go further study these research components, they're all available for your review. So again, in summary, if I wanted to stress the importance of what is to come now after my infographic presentation, is that there is a definite paradigm shift occurring in medicine today, and that is to target medicine towards personalized medicine, to address people's needs, to address the patient's requirements rather than the disease requirements. And with that, if we as research task force and you as our practitioners, our representatives, can take the substantial available evidence, turn it into practical tools to market, to advocate, to educate, to inform your public, your constituents, your neighbors, your physician partners, and your patients, and yourself. That positions us in a very important integrative state where we can now begin to be recognized as a key player in the overall health of the patient. And that ultimately will drive us in closer to be a mainstream participant in the welfare of our patients in the healthcare landscape. So thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, the infographic will be available, and all of these videos will be available on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you. And if you have any questions, hold it until the end of the seminar, and we can, as a panel, field them for you. Thank you. Anya, take it away.